Well, hello there. Welcome to the Heed Army podcast. We're a man down at the moment. We had a little bit of technical issues before we came on, but the main man himself, Chamie Chandler, is here with us. And we're going to be talking about his time at Gateshead and everything in between. And it is going to be full interactive. You'll be able to answer all your questions and things like that. But just before we start to talk to Chamie, it would be rude not to show the goal. Wasn't a bad finish, was it, Chamie?
Not too bad. I used to fall to pieces before Millsy come in, to be fair, in the box. Used to get called Jigsaw, but yeah, a great little ball by Larks. It was a great day, that one. Obviously, we could have been out of sight. At one point, we got 2-0 up, and we had a chance for free as well, I think. So it was disappointing not to get a win, but yeah, great one to look back on. Yeah.
As I say, we'll talk about a few games like that. But obviously, yourself, you were in the papers with an article with Mark Carruthers, your injury, due to be coming back, but unfortunately, no football.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Mark got in touch with us, and we had a good conversation and stuff. It was good to catch up with him. As you know, he does some brilliant stuff in the Northeast and stuff in the non-league paper, and it was great to chat to him and just give him an update on the progress. It's been a frustrating time for everyone, not just for me personally, but everyone involved in football, everybody in the world. But the good thing for myself is it's progressing well. I'm hitting some good milestones. I'm still probably about 4 or 5 months out from where I need to be, but fingers crossed and everything going well, I'll be tying back in with Spennymoor in pre-season, which will be amazing, really, that it's been a year from now since I've done it, and I actually haven't missed any season. So so it might be a quiz question in the future, as Mark joked when we spoke. But yeah, fingers crossed, mate. We just keep progressing. I keep taking it. It's a slow process. Got some really good people around us who are supporting as well. And I'm just hoping to, remain really positive and keep ticking their milestones off.
Yeah, and as you mentioned at the moment there, the season hasn't happened for 2 years now, as it kind of, in the record books. It's frustrating, isn't it? But I think it's been the right decision to safeguard all the clubs, especially in the Northeast.
Yeah, I totally agree. We were just speaking before we come on air, and obviously the possibilities of the roadmap and the positivity surrounding it, and you're just keeping your fingers crossed that we can get back playing, and everybody's safe. We can get fans back in the ground. It was difficult to watch games. It's even difficult now to watch games on the TV and stuff. Even the top level games. I think at first it was brilliant because we had so much football. But I think everybody's a little bit footballed out on the telly now, and they want to get back to the real thing. And I know how passionate yourself is, and people around the football club, and they'll be itching to get back and looking forward to the games when your Gateshead Spennies, Gateshead Darlows, Blythe, stuff like that. And we missed them. They were proper. We missed the atmosphere, and you could see that. Me looking from the outside, that the players were missing that little bit from the stands as well. I think, the fans are so important. Yeah, the fans are so important. It's a cliche, but they can be like that 12th man, and it's so true. And the local games, as a local player, and I've represented Darlow and Gateshead, now obviously Spennymoor. You look forward to them local games over the Christmas time, and you get the atmosphere, you get the buzz of the build up to the game. And it was so weird watching the Spenny game against Gateshead at the stadium. It was, is that Ramshaw? Wow, look at that already. The first comment. What chance he got, mate. Unbelievable.
He hasn't finished yet. There's another one.
You being in a sunbed. He's an idiot, isn't he? But yeah, so fingers crossed, mate.
I was going to say, he hasn't been invited on yet, has he? So that probably speaks volumes.
No, he only played 20 minutes for Gateshead, so he can't come on, can he? Played less than JJ.
Yeah, it's not possible. No, as I say, we are a man down at the moment. If you're just joining us, Mickey's having some technical problems. If he is watching, I have sent him the link in his Twitter to see if it's going to work from there. We had it was echoing back, so that's why Mickey isn't here at the minute. Hopefully, he'll be able to join us very shortly. So send your messages in. You can do it on whatever platform you're watching. Rob Ramshaw did it on Twitter. Charles Waff has sent a message on YouTube, and you can message us on Facebook as well. And I think he's got one there. I think he's got still one of my favourite Heat players. Always had time to say hello on match days and early days of me taking pictures of Gateshead. And actually, just speaking of that, Charles sent us a few pictures here of Jamie in action. There we go. There's the one that we used for advertising the show. He sent us a load, and I couldn't upload them all up in time. But as I say, some good shots there. Obviously, the Wembley, the day. And if anyone hasn't seen the podcast that Mark Carruthers put out, Northern Goals, it's an honour to help out with that. Fantastic show. So do go have a look at that, because we'll probably stay away from Wembley because that was covered a lot on the other podcast. So please view that and see all the lads talking about the Wembley experiences. Well, we have got some highlights here to play as we're talking, and I know you didn't come on until the second half of this game. This is just one of the ones that we'll play in the background while we're talking. See, Mills, his second season, he still got some great performances out of the lads, didn't he?
Yeah, without a doubt. That's probably the first 40 minutes up until I think Anichebe got the first one, didn't he? When he pinned the skipper and rolled him and scored. But I think for 40 minutes we were always Berahino the first one, but for 40 minutes we were absolutely outstanding. And leading up to the game, it was funny. And I know we spoke about this with Mark and yourself the other week as players. And we spoke about how Millsy and Cask used to set up, and they were very much what we done. And they firmly believed in, our formation, our style of play. And leading up to that game, we were all sort of talking, saying, we're playing a Premiership team here. Do you think we might maybe go a 4-5-1 or a 5-4-1 and be a little bit more defensive and stuff? And we done no team shape. We done nothing on them. And then anyways, the day before the game, Millsy put his cones down, set us up in the 4-3-3. Exactly how we normally played. Said we're going to look to play out from the back. We're going to look to build up and play, and we're going to take the game to them. And like I say, for 40 minutes, I thought we were outstanding. Once that first one went in and he turned up Berahino, it just turned into a bit of a massacre. But brilliant experience. I'd been injured leading up to the game, and it was disappointing that I didn't start the game, but to get on there and experience it, although we were chasing shadows for probably the last 30-35 minutes, it was a brilliant experience, and it was great to see so many supporters there as well. It
was Tony Pulis's first game as well, and they couldn't buy a win at the time, and it was you kind of felt, well, we might have a chance here. And when obviously we played 40 minutes, and everyone in the media said that you couldn't tell the difference between who was the National League side and who was the Premier League side. And you just feel that if that manager hadn't have come in and maybe had stuck it out with the manager that was there before, we might be able to steal something or get something out of the game, even if it wasn't a win, just a couple of goals.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I remember being sat on the bench, and like I say, about 30-35 minutes, Pulis comes storming down. He'd sat up in the top, and I don't think it was his intention to actually be on the touchline on the game. I think he was just there, as a bit of a presence. And obviously it got to that stage where, we were playing really well and we were dominating possession and we were creating one or two little half openings and stuff. And he come marching down and went absolutely crazy. And he done the trick. It sparked him into life. And Berahino, and Anichebe, they were an absolute handful. I think Sessegnon played that day as well. I'm sure that's him setting the goal up, and he was an absolutely unbelievable player. So, we done ourselves proud. We were genuinely disappointed after the game. Funny enough, Millsy was disappointed. We as players were disappointed in the manner of how it finished. But you couldn't take nothing away. You look at some of his finishes there; they were absolutely different class.
And as I say, it was on that day as well. You mentioned the fans. There was, I think it was close to 1,000 there, and the noise that they made. There was videos from the West Brom fans saying, "Oh, the best fans I had been there in years." And that's high praise, really, isn't it? You think of the bunch of supporters that go through down at West Brom, each season, for them to pick out Gateshead fans was something quite nice.
Oh, it was the fans were absolutely incredible, and I think over my time at the club, the fan base, I was really lucky to have, some really close relationships with some of the supporters, some people who were absolutely brilliant with my family when they come to the game. People who always took the time to support, whether we won, lost, whatever, had a bad game, they were always there after games and stuff. And I've got absolutely massive respect in terms of the fans and what they brought to the table. And some of the away days, I remember, Barnet sticks out as one, where there was a great following down there, and they really cheered us on. And obviously that run up to Wembley when we were getting big crowds, I think Southport was a big one at home, Cambridge, obviously the Grimsby semi, the support just absolutely grew, and it really got behind us. And at times, we spoke off air, it really drove us on to get over the line.
Yeah, as I say, I'll just pause this game because obviously the replay was postponed due to weather, and they didn't have a team to put out, did they? And that was so it was only postponed about 40 minutes before kickoff as well. And we would have had a great chance, I think, of getting past Oxford in that game as well. That was obviously the season before, the last FA Cup game that was seen. And that was that the replay was a hard one, a bit of pill to swallow as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, without a doubt, because I think for the 90 minutes we absolutely dominated the game. We dominated possession. We had the best chances in the game. I remember Constable, the striker, at one point saying, I remember at one point him turning around and absolutely nailing his teammates and stuff, and saying we're absolutely nowhere near. They're taking the pay out of us. He said, we're nowhere near. So to go out in the manner we did, obviously extra time, a penalty as well. It was a bit of a dubious one as well in terms when you look back. But, we had a brilliant opportunity in that first game. We obviously let a 2-goal slip. And in the return game, we looked like the Football League side compared to Oxford.
No, certainly did. Well, Mickey, he's back with us, so hopefully we can bring him in and he can hear us. But the reason I picked this one out and highlights a game against Telford, as I say, you're integral in the attack in this one. You're in and around the box. I say the players that you played with especially the last 2 seasons or last 3 seasons at Gateshead, we had a special bunch of players, and a lot of them went on to play at a higher level.
Yeah, there was some top players. Probably the first one that would spring straight to mind was probably Marcus Maddison, who's obviously playing at a good level in the Football League now, and he was a special player. And I would look back, the second year after the Wembley disappointment, we started the game we started the season like a house on fire. We won against Torquay the first game 5-1. Went to Wrexham on the Tuesday, won 2 or 3, I think it was 3-0 actually. We won there. Went to Aldringham and won on the Saturday, and we were flying. We had a real spring in our step. We were really confident. Marcus was at the heart of it. Obviously, your Johnny Osters, people like that. And everyone had us, I think, down as favourites. I think no one was betting against us. Everyone was putting the money on Gateshead. And I think losing Marcus was a real kick in the teeth at that time, because he was playing out of his skin. So
that game against
it was disappointing. That second
first game of the season, he when you see a good player when they're getting space effortlessly, and that's what he was doing against Torquay, and you kind of knew that he was not going to be long at Gateshead after that. He just improved so much after the Wembley appearance, didn't he?
Yeah, without a doubt, he was such a special player. I think his goal against Torquay would probably rank up there as one of the best I've seen in terms of being on a football pitch and being in and around it. Philly Turnbull with a header. That's a collector's item there. But Marcus was such a special player. And that goal he scored against Torquay on the opening day, I think he set up 2 or 3 of the goals as well. And we were always going to do well to hang on to him. And I think Gary Mills and the football club, the chairman, of course, Graham Wood, absolutely fair play to him. The offer come in, it suited the football club, but it also suited Marcus and was going to progress him in his career. So absolutely brilliant player, very, very special player. But, you know, when you go through that squad, you know, James Marwood had a brilliant year. You know, Johnny Oster, who's just been on the ball there, was probably in the top three I've been lucky enough to play with. And the big man there, James Curtis, you know, the list's absolutely endless, to be honest. We could just go on and on all night. Just some really brilliant players and brilliant people as well.
Yeah, and obviously it wasn't to be when the season after Wembley, the squad was kind of decimated a little bit, wasn't it? Lots of players were let go. A lot of local lads went as well. Do you think that was the beginning of the end? Well, beginning of the end for that squad of players.
Yeah, I think unfortunately it was. You know, I think we suffered a little bit. We were a little bit unlucky as well that season. The second season, I think we lost John Oster for a long time with his knee. We lost Philly Turnbull, who were absolutely imperative to everything we done and the way we wanted to play. You seen Philly there getting it off the goalkeeper and stuff. And, you know, I was fortunate enough to have played, I don't know, probably near enough 7,500 games with them. You know, and I was basically the runner, really. I was the one who would get in the box and run around and win the ball back and give it to them as quick as possible because they were absolutely superb. You know, John had absolutely everything in his locker. He could take people on. He could go and get it deep. He could dictate the play. And he was a superb player. But you look at Phil and people think, oh, yeah, Phil Turnbull, he just kept the ball and stuff like that. But he brought so much more to the table. He was a big character around the dressing room. And he was absolutely influential in how we wanted to play and build up from the back. So, you know, them two were absolutely different class. And I think we lost them. I'm sure we lost Ben Clark for a little bit of a spell as well, which, of course, is like you take him out or you take James Curtis out. It's a massive blow. So there was a lot of changes. And I'm not saying, you know, that for 1 second that, you know, because the players were from outside the area, they weren't good enough or they didn't fit in or anything like that. But there was quite a big transition that summer from being 90 minutes away from Wembley to then a little bit of a turnover in the squad and stuff. And maybe there was too many changes and we lost a little bit of that, I wouldn't say togetherness, but that little bit of continuity and that little bit of camaraderie, what we did build up so much in that Wembley running.
Certainly did. Well, Mickey, he's back with us. Can you hear us, Mickey?
Good evening. Sorry about that, lads. Good evening, Mr. Chandler. How's the family?
I had a good, it took us about 3 hours to get him to sleep the night, mate. But apart from that, he's doing all right. He's flying.
How old is he now?
He's 4 now. He's nearly bigger than me, Mickey. So you'll be happy with that.
You mean nearly bigger? He is bigger, man. You're rocking the TIG look there from Sons Anarchy.
You what? Sorry.
You're rocking the TIG look from the Sons of Anarchy there with that goatee beard and the tash.
I tell you what, it's took us 12 years to grow that, man.
We've seen some fantastic acting from JJ O'Donnell here on the highlights.
That's been the pick of the night so far, seeing him hobbling around.
Was it his toe?
It might have been.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was the start of it.
It might have been.
He's only got 4, so he's all right now.
Well, he is from Luton.
As I said, Mickey I know I was speaking to Mickey before we came on air, and he wants to know about, I've been talking about on the pitch, but what about off the pitch, the lads and the nights out?
Christmas parties.
Yeah, we could, that could be a full show, to be fair. No, I think like we spoke about on the Wembley one a couple of weeks ago, and I probably touched on it. It was like going out playing with your mates. So you would go into the football club every day, you know, and some people get up on a morning for work and stuff and be like, we were like all probably bouncing out of bed, couldn't wait to get to the football club. People were trying to beat each other in on a morning, just to be around each other, just to either be sat in the dressing room, be in the gym together, be playing a bit of head tennis or whatever it was. There was just that feeling around the dressing room. Everyone wanted to be in, everyone wanted to be around each other. That continued onto the training pitch. But when training finished, it wasn't just see you later, lads, we'll see you tomorrow or whenever. It was where we're going, what we're going to do. And we got into a bit of a routine, to be fair. We used to train on a Monday, train Tuesday morning, and Tuesday afternoon you were in Jesmond by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Wednesday off to recover. Yeah. Go again Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday you win, lose, or draw. We were out again. And that was it. We had some, older heads in the squad, your Clarkies, Jamesies, people like that who maybe didn't do the double bubble or maybe get out as much as myself, Fisher, Marwood, Liam Henderson. There was a few of us, Magné, who would go out quite regular. And I get a little bit of stick now because I'm lucky to get out once a year now, which I think is a good thing.
Well, don't worry about that.
So I'm lucky to get out once a year now. But during my time at Gateshead, we certainly made up for that. We had some good ones, to be fair. I think looking back at one of the Christmas dues, I remember we were in is it the Rose and Crown up next to the gate? Is that what it is? Yeah. Rose and Crown. Yeah. We ended up in there somehow mid-afternoon, and it was carnage. It was just starting to turn. It started to get to about 2 or 3 o'clock. You could see people starting to change, getting a little bit leery, getting a bit louder. And I can't remember the exact Christmas song, what it was, but it started off like maybe 2 or 3 singing it. Then it got into 5 or 6. And then by the end, you've got like 16, 17, 18 of us singing our hearts out of this Christmas song. So one by one, the staff's coming over. The seniors need to calm down and stuff like that. And it's the worst thing they could have done, because it's the worst thing they could have done because, I don't know if I was doing it, but there was a lot doing it. We had the stools using them as drums. The tables were like, drums as well. And it was sort of carnage, honestly. The place had just been taken over. And next thing, look to me right, and there's just a couple of sort of officers coming across. They've got the hats on, they've got the gear on and stuff like that, and we're all piling out trying to scoot away. I won't name the player. You might get him on at one point. He might tell you, might be honest, but there was one player continued it outside, and we had our hands on our head and we're like, what are you doing here? Like, the police are there and he needs to calm down. We're saying, settle yourself down. He's got the bin lid and the bin lid's getting it and he's singing and everything. And that was the end of his Christmas do, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we had some good experience, some good nights out.
You mentioned one player, Nathan Fisher, and I think we got messages on the podcast, I think, when it was happening with his car keys. That was probably on
Please share this story for those who haven't heard it.
There was a massive rumour when Fish signed for the football club that Graham Wood had bought him his car. He had a blue, it was like a Sirocco, and there was a massive rumour Graham Wood's bought him this car. He hadn't really, but we just really got on him like, oh, you've had a car bought you massive time, stuff like that. So we just made a beeline for it. It was just like, right, his car's going to get it as much as we can. So, myself, Marwood, Mags was involved as well a little bit. Josh Walker, he was a nightmare. And we just used to pinch his car. Just putting it bluntly, we used to just pinch his car. One of us would get out early. And one of us would occupy him in the changing room and keep him there. And then there'd be 2 of yous go out. One would jump in Fisher's car, go and drive it. There was times it got left down on next to the schooner, a couple of times next to the Gregs and stuff, down on the quayside. And then the one who followed you in his car, he would drive you back. So, it was getting to the point where like Fish's head was gone. He was absolutely fuming. So used to be a house in Lowfell, which Mags used to live in. Fish used to be in there. Players from outside the area would live there, from Lawrence and Ange, who were absolutely amazing. And the house was brilliant. It was absolutely class. We would go there first on a Saturday after a game or a Tuesday, get ready, have some drinks, whatever, and then we'd go from there. So Fish was staying there, and he used to stay, I think, once or twice a week. And then he would go back home for a couple of days and stuff down in Richmond, because obviously lived an absolute hike away. So we just decided we're just going to pinch his car, and he wasn't going home. Like there was no question about it. He wasn't going home. So a couple of us have jumped in. I think it was me, Liam Henderson, Marzi, maybe. Mags is keeping him occupied, watching The Big Bang Theory on the telly. Got him in there, locked in there. And yeah, we just left it in the town. We just went and parked it up in the town, left it there, took it away and stuff. So it gets to I've gone home by this time. I'm gone about 9:30, 10 o'clock. And I'm getting loads of phone calls. Fish, where's my car, Chan? I'm like, mate, I honestly don't know where your car is, mate. He's like, no, Chan, I need to get home. I'm going to Richmond tomorrow. And I'm like, well, I really don't know. So he's ringing round all the lads and stuff like that. And eventually we told him where it was, went over and got it. The following day in training, James Marwood pinched his car keys. So he got his car back after all this stress. And Marzi pinched his car keys. And Marzi forgot where he put them. So he forgot where he put them. I saw the story finished with Fish having to go to Volkswagen and ordering a new car key for like 150 quid or something because Marzi couldn't fit where his key was. So yeah, there was a couple of sagas in Nathan Fisher's car. Yeah, there's a couple of sagas.
Oh, well, if anyone's got any messages or questions for Jamie, please do send them in. We're going to play a couple of adverts, and when we come back, we'll continue.
I've got a couple of questions still to come.
Has anyone got a James Curtis hat? That's the first question. Well, there we go. Big thank you to our sponsors. And you may have seen the Sport Icon hat that's come out, the James Curtis one, which I think is selling pretty well. And proceeds of that go to the Gated Food Bank. So good all round there. And well, just before we carry on the conversation with Jamie, there was some news that's come out today. Mark Curvers tweeted that Sunderland have had a 2-week trial offer accepted for Danny Greenfield. So let's just see what Sunderland have been looking at. He's read every ball through to him really well. Anticipated a lot as Preston brings it down. He tried to get it through. Ollie that was run onto it, but now Gator can try and bring it into the box through Griffiths. Crosses the ball in and headed clear. Greenfield from distance. It's in! The goalkeeper just didn't grab that at all, and it went into the back of the net. But let's not take anything away from the finish.
Do you know what? Yes, the keeper's at fault, unquestionably at fault, but what a strike that is from Danny Greenfield. I mean, 20, 25 yards out there to hit that on his left. First time ball dropping out the sky. It's a great strike. He deserved a little bit of luck that he's got with the keeper dropping that error. You know what? Gateshead's challenge now is, can they go and build on that? Can you put this keeper under?
When you realise that your predictive text changed weir side to west side for some reason there on the video, but respectively.
Yeah, right.
I wasn't
Didn't believe you one bit, like.
Yeah, devastated when I seen that. But you know, the lad's done really well this year, Mickey. Probably at the beginning of pre-season, you didn't think he was going to be part of the club when he was loaned out. Maybe thought the time was, going to ring for him here at Gateshead, but he came back after his loan spell at Matlock and did really well there, and then just absolutely kicked on and kept Nicky Devidics out the side.
He's done well. I'm surprised that he's going to have a trial at Sunderland. I would be lying if I said no. So he's a young lad. He's still raw. I wish him the best. He went away, and like a few other players, he's went away on loan and come back a better player. It doesn't done him a world of good. You know, Mellish, Tommy White, all done exactly the same.
Yeah.
So
well,
maybe that's what you've got to do. Chance next season, you've got to go on loan.
Yeah, I think I'm past alone. Like,
Well, there was one thing that was picked up on in the articles that he signed a long-term contract in December. So if Sunderland are going to go in for him, they're going to have to make a decent offer, and obviously Gateshead will hopefully, whatever deal, if it does develop to that stage, then Gateshead are going to be, in for sell-ons and things like that. So, touch wood, everything works out for the young lad, and Gateshead can capitalize on the sale of a young player, because in the past, you mentioned Mellish, due to the people that were in charge, we missed out on everything with that young man, and he's he's the record goal scoring for a midfielder, isn't it? And I think ever for Carlisle.
Well, all these players we've let go and to league clubs not stand in the way, obviously.
Yep.
We'll put the release clauses in, and not release clause, the sell-on clause, and everyone knows when you're a contract who have never got a bean yet.
It'll happen one day, I'm sure of it. Who knows? It might happen with the young lad there. But say you've seen him play, Jamie, in the games against Spennymoor this year. Did he stand out to you at all?
Yeah, I like him, to be fair. I think I come over and watched when you beat Southport at home. Was it 4-0? I think the boy up front scored a couple. And I thought he was really good, and actually spoke to Busted after the game. And I said I was quite impressed with him, his energy, how he looked after the ball and stuff like that. He couldn't get near Rammer, obviously, when he played against us, but
yeah,
none of you have nibbled there. But no,
Chance, I'm not going to nibble at that. We deserve to get beat on the day.
Well, Mickey null and void.
We've done the double last year, so we've got to let you win eventually.
No, you didn't do the double. It was null and void, man.
No.
Both the history, man.
So this one didn't count neither.
No. Well, I just don't count it. No, he's a good player, and obviously great opportunity for him, and be fantastic, obviously, for him, for the football club, for Busted and Mike, to have developed another really talented young player who goes on to hopefully do well in the Football League.
Well, it helps.
Are you still down there at the academy, Chance?
I'm round the corner in Wearmouth Academy, which is a school round the corner, but we're pretty much linked and stuff, and I pop my head in quite a bit and watch a lot of the coaching stuff that goes on in there, and some brilliant people in there. Lewis Dickman's just become the new academy manager, and I know he's someone who speaks a lot with Busted and stuff, so he'll be well looked after, which will be great for him as well.
Well, it's another feather is here to Busted and Mike's hat, because in pre-season with players, if they're going to drop out of academies or down the leagues, it's an opportunity to say, well, look, you're going to get watched at Gateshead, the way we play, the big pitch, the amount of players that are picked up from Gateshead has been quite good over the last 15 years. It's been quite phenomenal, the amount of players that have went up a level or 2 or 3 levels. So it helps us sell the club to players, really, that they can advance if they come here.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think, like I say, I speak to Busted quite regular. He's very passionate about it. He absolutely loves the place, and it's gripped him. It's gripped him, and he wants to do well. And Mike does as well. And I would imagine the model that they've got there, the way the football, they've got the same sort of identity. What I was used to when I played there, in terms of Bogie and Terry, and then obviously Millsy, where it's that nice on the eye looking team. You get the ball down, you play. And you're expansive in the way you play, and I think that's Gateshead's identity, that's Gateshead's culture of always having attractive looking footballing teams, but teams that could roll the sleeves up and muck in as well. So like I said before, it's a great opportunity for him, and if the football club continue to produce players like that, it's fantastic from a financial point as well.
It certainly is. Well, we've got a question from Sam Pendleton. He's put, what was Gary Mills like to play under as a manager?
He was brilliant, and I think for the ones who maybe tuned in the other week with myself and Ben and JJ, Phil, we all spoke very, very highly of him. And I think my biggest probably compliment was that everybody knew the job under him, and I think sometimes first team coaches, managers, they find it difficult sometimes to get across their identity, their style of play, and what they want from each individual, but he come in very early and set his stall out. I remember when he first come in, we were up on the top pitch on the grass. He put a cones down in a 4-3-3. After training, he gave everybody a piece of paper with each position with a number. And he basically said, this is what I expect. If you want to play in my team, you love playing in my teams because this is how we're going to do it. And this is how we're going to play, but you're going to have to invest in it. You're going to have to be accountable and you're going to have to learn quickly. And I think I was one of the ones who had to probably learn quickly. In terms of, I was a number 4. I was more of a holding midfielder when I joined the club, obviously from Darlington. And he turned me into a goal scoring midfielder, an attacking midfielder who I probably played the majority of my games that season behind James Marwood in the number 10 position. That was probably a couple of reasons. One, probably, how well Phil and John done in the holding roles and how, imperative they were to start in the playoff. But I think, one thing that Gary Mills liked about myself was my energy. And then I could get up and down, I could cover the grass. And he seen something in me that I could add goals to my game. Luckily, I worked really hard at it. Luckily, supported us through the sort of transition phase. And I look back at it and it was without a doubt one of my most enjoyable seasons as a player. When I had that challenge of really turning, from a defensive midfielder into that attacking box-to-box midfielder. So, yeah, in terms of Millsy, Kasky, they come as a team. They had their own ways. I wouldn't say, the most amazing coaches on earth and they put on the most brilliant sessions, but you knew what you were going to get and you knew what they wanted. And I loved his honesty in the fact that it was our way. And if you played our way, it didn't matter who the opposition were. And I loved that confidence that he put in us. And I loved that little bit of arrogance and aura that he gave the dressing room, because we all firmly believed every game we went out, we were going to win. So yeah, he was different class. That first year, he totally revitalized the dressing room, totally revitalized the season. And I would probably love to catch up at him at one point and rack his brain and have a bit of a chat. Now I'm into the coaching world myself, because he had some fantastic ideas on the way he wanted to play football.
Yeah,
I think he learned it all from Cloughie.
I think there was definitely a lot of aspects, Mickey, I would totally agree with. The drinking culture was probably the biggest.
Probably the back is closed after he left.
How to neck a pint of Guinness was probably number 1, but there was certainly I touched on it there, just the arrogance, but in a good way. It was an arrogance in a good way. It was where Gates said, this is how we're going to play, deal with it. We're not going to change. We're not going to, you see a lot of teams abandon the style of play now. It's not working after 15, 20 minutes. Right, plan B, we'll just hump it forward to the big man. We couldn't do that because we had Madison, who never won a header in his life. Larks wasn't really going to physically dominate. And then Marzi played the number 9. And obviously, he was 7 stone dripping wet. So we had the challenge of finding a way of playing our plan A. And if it didn't work, we went down fighting, trying to play that way. We would never abandon our style of play. So, like I say, that arrogance, that confidence in his team, that trust he put in each other, that rubbed off because we all trusted each other on the pitch. You look at some of the situations that Phil and John used to get in, and James and Ben, they were receiving the ball like on the 6-yard box. Like that rule come in obviously a couple of years ago. We were doing it like 7 years ago? They were trying to do that. So, that's what it was. And I certainly think, when you read the stories and you watch the stuff on Cloughie, there's 100% lots of crossovers with him and Millsy.
Mm-hmm. There was another
simple, isn't it? Everything was simple, apparently, with Gary Mills.
Yeah, you knew what you were going to do pretty much on a daily basis. You knew the training structure. You knew you were going to go up. You're going to have a little bit of fun in the boxes, where 1 man or 2 men go in the middle and you keep the ball off them. Kasky was going to join in and take the pee a little bit because he was so good. Millsy was just going to stand and fire grenades at people. What you've been up to, what's been happening, look at the state of your hair. he was brilliant at that man management, that getting on people, that banter. You'd go into some form of possession. They loved possession exercises. They wanted us keeping the ball as much as we could. And then you were into games. And it was as simple as that. And if the strikers and attacking players wanted to do a little bit of shooting after training, there you go, you can. If you don't, see you later. We'll see you tomorrow. It was as simple as that. The odd day would throw in that we'd go to Tynemouth Beach. We'd go and have a little five-a-side on the beach. Would go in the water, in the ice baths, or he'd call it an ice bath, but in the sea. Clark used to go mental because I always used to say, Clark, you take your swimming cap off, man. And he used to hate it, Clark. He used to
I can't see it out.
Had a Mitchell brothers on. So and we'd either go in the sea or he'd take us for fish and chips. And it was that. You what, sorry?
The pictures?
Hey, we went to the pictures as well. I forgot about that. He didn't get us any popcorn, no, Mickey. And then and when we used to travel to away games on a Friday, we used to go to his pub in his village, his local pub in Northampton. We'd play Skittles. You had to put $5 in a man. You'd play Skittles. You'd play darts. And did we play? No, it was Skittles and darts were the two games. So you'd go from one to the other. Winner take all in the kitty and stuff. Him and Kasky would sink about 9 to 10 pints of Guinness. George would have his Havana club behind the bar. He would take his own bottle load of tight gits, so he didn't have to pay out. And then the lads, if the lads wanted to have a pint, the lads had a pint. If you just wanted an orange juice, they looked at you as though you were an alien because they wanted you to have a Guinness. But that's what you'd done. And then we'd be back on the bus, hotel, off you go to the game. And somehow they'd kick on again at the hotel, and Millsy and Kasky would wake up the next morning, the freshest two there. So I don't know how they done it, but I had the magic
hangover. But
Mickey, it was very simple, mate. It was very simple. We knew what our jobs were.
Is that where Hatchie got splattered on the heads and tails in the pub in Northampton?
We spoke about this, the other week, didn't we? And there's a little bit of a story. So the Friday, Hatchie's gone mental for some reason. He thinks I'm not going to be in the squad. He's on the double vodkas. He's on the double vodka Red Bulls. Before that, Millsy's sinking the Guinness in him and stuff like that. This is day before Barnet. And in training the day before Barnet, Millsy said, we've got to win tomorrow or otherwise we're not getting in the playoffs. He said, we've got 10 games left, I think it was. 10 or 12 games left, something around that. He said, we have to win 8 of them. And if we win 8 of them, we'll finish 3rd or 4th and we'll be in the playoffs. So everyone's like, right, no problem. So 2 hours later, Hatchie is absolutely steaming in this bar. Hatchie, and you know how big he was, don't you? Big, clumsy Hatchie, sinking all sorts. Millsy's on one, Kasky's the singing, there's also Georgie's in the mix and everything. So we get to the hotel, Hatchie straight to his room, straight to Kip, blah, blah. So we get up for the game the next day, Barnet. John Oster was going to play the number 9. John Oster played the number 9. Me, Philly and Rama played the 3 in the middle. I think Marzi played from the left and Maddo from the right, or Larks, one of the two. But John Oster played as the 9, and he was absolutely unbelievable. Like, he was a joke. But he blew up about 15 minutes from time, 10 minutes from time. And I couldn't believe me eyes to see the board go up and see Liam Hatch stood on the line. It was Hatchie, and I was like, wow, 1-0 up. Obviously, Ozzy had played that ball for me to score the header. We were 1-0 up. We were hanging on for dear life, and to bring Hatchie on. And I was like, what is going to happen? And I remember, Mickey, honestly, I remember the ball come up to him, his first touch, and he's tried to give it to Bergkamp against Newcastle and spin the defender. But it's bounced off him like a trampoline and ended up in the stand in the bottom corner. But rather than just hold his hand up and say it's a shocking touch, he's given it the old, like, come on, lads, like, pin them in, as though he's done it on purpose.
What a load of shite.
He did. It was, So, he's given it 6. And we honestly, after the game and stuff, it was brilliant. But that was the start. That game was because we went through a little bit of a tricky patch and we went in 1-0. And I don't think we lost many games after that game. We just
You think that was the game that gave you the belief, Jamie?
Oh, massively, because we were a little bit depleted. Obviously, John had to play the 9. Robbie was just breaking through, although he was different class. He was fantastic. He was still a young boy. He was still learning. And, you know, we were through together a little bit that day. Barnet were a decent team, as you can remember, at the new stadium and stuff. But I always remember there was a brilliant turnout that day from the Heat Army, wasn't it? It must have been 200-300 that day. I might be exaggerating, but that's what it looked like and felt like. And I remember scoring the header, and all the players ran in to the crowd. And that wasn't my intention. It was just running towards the crowd to celebrate. And next thing, everyone was dragged in together. Yeah. And I think we'll come on the pitch after, and Millsy was giving it 6 now to yourselves and stuff like that. And I don't know, something just clicked that game. Something just changed, and we all thought, well, he's not talking rubbish anymore, this guy. Like, everything he seems to be saying is coming true. Whether he's got, you know, a bit of cat's poop in his pocket or what, he's got the look on his side, and it's working. And honestly, it was such a massive performance and a massive win that day.
It certainly was. But the season before, in contrast, it took us to the last game of the season to ensure we were going to be up. Obviously, the pitch died in all. The only way you could talk about it, I think that Boxing Day game when the ball just stopped dead in the box. And
Boise scored, didn't he? James Curtis went to clear it, didn't he? Yeah. That season before was, without doubt, the toughest in my career by a mile. Being in a relegation battle it's the worst. It's the very worst. You know, and I know a lot of teams and a lot of players get stick for celebrating when they stay up. I remember Roy Keane, you know, nailing Villa a couple of years ago and stuff. But we celebrated exactly like that. We went out for 2 or 3 days after that because we were playing Saturday, Tuesday, sometimes a Thursday, Saturday again. And we weren't winning. We weren't winning games. We were rolling out. We were rolling out on the pitch. We had some players who were nowhere near. Here's Rama there. Why is he still watching it? Do you know what I mean? Like, he's 20, what is he, 26 now. He could definitely, you know, be with a girl or something like that. But he's listening to me.
Well, no, he's tuned in for the great entertainment, but
he's saying I wasn't allowed out, but he didn't even have ID. And the time he come out in his Fred Perry jumper, and we thought he'd come straight from Lords. He was a shambles, man. But anyways, can we block him or something? Yeah, but we went to Boston. I remember we had to play Newport at Boston on a Thursday night. And Ryan Donaldson missed a header. Can you remember it, from about a yard out? And we would have won 1-0. Newport would go. I think Newport went up that year in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And Ryan Donaldson had a header, and that would have probably done us. We would have been like 5 points, I think, above the relegation with two games left. And yeah, so we went down to that Ebbsfleet game at the Riverside, and it probably wasn't until we went 2 or 3-0 up. And I remember like looking at Philly, and it was just a sheer relief. Just me and Twinny, Marzi. It was like sheer relief. It was like emotional relief, to be honest, because it was them final 2 or 3 months. Honestly, they were draining. It was a nightmare.
The games at Hartlepool didn't feel like great games at all. It wasn't comfortable being there. I don't think the lads were comfortable on the pitch. It just felt so disjointed at times, didn't it?
Yeah, I can't even remember. I think we won there once. I remember beating Hereford, I think, on a Tuesday night, 3-1 or 3-2, and Gillies and Ryan were absolutely superb. But I don't think our record was decent there at Hartlepool. And it was just so difficult. You know, the fans tried the best. They really did try the best, you know, to get to the games and stuff, and to try and generate something for us. And it was just so difficult. You know, it was just one of them seasons where everything just seemed to go against us. You know, Ryan and Josh were absolutely incredible. I think we lost both of them, didn't we, the following season? And they were different class. But if they didn't tick, we didn't really have anything else.
Most memorable
we struggled. We really struggled.
Yeah, I think the most memorable
Carlisle one was a good one.
Yeah, but
I
I
won
think
5-1 against Luton.
Yeah, that was up there. Macclesfield away, we won 4-1. I think we were 4-0 up after about 15 or 20 minutes.
I was jumping around the kitchen like an idiot.
I'll tell you one game that we did do really well in. We played at Blythe's ground. And we beat Nuneaton 4-0, and we were absolutely immense. And I remember the players saying, can we not get the final game switched to Blythe? Because it just felt a little bit more closed in. There was more, obviously, Gateshead fans there. It was a proper atmosphere. You were right behind us, and we absolutely steamrolled them. And I remember the players asking if we could play at Blythe more, but there was only like a one-game agreement. And the lads were gutted. The lads were actually gutted, yeah.
I think there was
one game. As long as we wipe our feet when we come out, we were all right.
Yeah, I think there was one game at Hartlepool when you come and got the last-minute equaliser as well, and I think that was a game where we had to get a point.
Was it?
Yeah, we had to get a point.
Southport, yeah. It was a brilliant header. It was a header, wasn't it, towards the end?
I think so.
Yeah.
Edge of the box.
Yeah. But no, there was some really tough days. Some tough days. Going into training was tough. You still had the nucleus of the squad: myself, Baxter, Magnay, Curtis, Twinney, and I remember Twinney standing up at a game at Victoria Park at Hartlepool, and he spoke quite deep, and he spoke about how the club had been where it was, and it had come through, and from the Conference North and the Unibond, and got to and he said, I'm not going to allow this to happen. And he said, if you don't want to come with us and you don't want to put 100% in and you don't want to drag you pull your sleeves up and etc. He said, just go now. He said, just get out the dressing room now. And it was unbelievable, to be fair.
How many left?
I think for the first time, I think Philly had everyone themselves a bit. But no, it was great. We just done enough. We had Hereford away. I remember Philly done a step over. Bent one, hit the post, and went wide in the last minute. We would have won. Just everything just went against us. It was an absolute shambles. But we went out after that game. We went out the Saturday night, Sunday, and I think we done a little bit on the Monday as well. Yeah. And it was more relief than anything. It was just like everybody was so happy, and it was just a massive relief after the game in the dressing room. And like I say, I can see why people who stay up celebrated as though they've won the league, because it's a tough time.
It wasn't like
sorry, Dave, go on.
It wasn't like we were getting drubbed for being a poor team. It was just exhaustion and the amount of miles that we were putting on a team that was, having to play every other couple of days. Yeah,
it was exhaustion. You're totally right. It wasn't so much a lack of quality. We just had to do what we could, and we had a real strong 11. I would say we had a strong 11, maybe 12, 13, but we didn't have anything after that. And that's nothing against the boys that were there, but we had a couple of loans in, and they just weren't ready for it. We had a couple of the young lads come through who've done really well, but they just weren't really maybe ready to be able to roll the sleeves up and be experienced enough to battle away in a relegation battle. And like I say, you look at the squad on paper, you would probably say it would probably do really well. But it was purely down to Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday for about 3 or 4 weeks. And it was absolutely unbelievable. You're just rolling yourself out, literally rolling yourself out and trying to give as much as you could.
Certainly. Well, we'll make any more questions because I'll.
Just going back on that. I mean, when we played the home game at Boston, I think there was only 15 more miles for Newport to travel than Gateshead fans. What a home game.
Yeah, I know. And we nicked a 0-0. And like I say, Ryan Donaldson missed, and Ryan was absolutely incredible that season. We missed a header from about 2 or 3 yards out in the last minute. And I think that would have done us. I can't remember anyone below us winning after that last 3 or 4 games. But yeah, he put the header over the bar. That was on the Thursday. And then I think we had to go and play Saturday, Monday. And we played Mansfield, who romped the league that year. And we got butchered about 5 or 6-0. I don't know if you can remember it. And I never wanted a game to end as quick as that game. We were miles away, yeah. So
anyway, another question.
just before Mickey asks his question, if anyone wants to get theirs in, because we'll be ending soon and we don't want to keep Jamie too long. So if you want to get your message, get them in now. And, Mickey can ask his now. Go on.
Bristol, Christmas do. Danny Wright, Christmas tree. Discuss.
That trip was wow. Do you know what it is? I'm gonna be able to get one up on Rama here as well, which makes us so happy. But there was all sorts going on. But Danny Wright, you talk about car crashes, loose cannons, the biggest of them all, easily, comfortably. You could have been sat in a Wetherspoons, having your breakfast with a pint or whatever, you're on your Christmas do, and all you would hear is a massive bang, and you'd be like, what is that? And it would be like Danny Wright doing like a Klinsmann across about 4 tables. And you're like, what is he doing? And then would be walking down the street, there'd just be a Costa, lovely couples and stuff, just having a Costa and stuff, and he'd be bombing across the tables. And there'd be espressos and lattes going flying. He was just surreal. And then we got back to the hotel the Friday night. We got back to the hotel. 2 things happened. But first off, Danny Wright's decided he's got out a taxi and he's on one. He's not ready to go to bed. It's about 4 a.m. He's still lively. He's still ready to go. And in the reception, it was a lovely hotel that we stayed in. But it was about a 20-foot Christmas tree in the reception. And you know what's coming. He's absolutely launched himself like Elf, in the movie Elf. And the full trees over, Honestly, I just remember the people in reception just like this, like putting their hands on their head. So he'd done that. And then as that's happening, as that's developing, Louis Guy was another character. Absolute nightmare once he'd had a drink, could start a fight in an empty room. So we're all outside and stuff. Louis Guy's taxi pulls up. Shawsey gets out. Shawsey was straight as a die. Honest, would have a few pints, but never get leery. JJ gets out. And next thing, Louis Guy comes bombing outside and he's got no clothes on. He's completely spotless. He's got nothing on. And these 2 kids are just having a tab outside, and Louis Guy's bombing around, windmilling and all. So Shawsey's you know what Shawsey's don't you? Shawsey's lads, I'm so sorry about me mate and stuff like that, blah, blah. So as Shawsey's doing this, one of the kids has just absolutely hooked him and dropped Shawsey, just put Shawsey's timbering on the floor. So all us don't know whether to laugh or wow, what are we going to do here? And anyway, Shawsey's got up and he had a watch on. It's a nightmare for him, to be fair. And his wife had got him it. I'm sure it was a 10-year wedding anniversary gift, engraved and everything. Honestly, lads, it was hanging off. It was smashed to bits and stuff like that. So we were Shawsey, I hope you're all right now. But as soon as he turned around, we're proper buzzing and stuff, laughing and stuff. So yeah, so that happened in the same night. The following day, wow, Danny Wright again, absolute mayhem. He pinched a little boy's hat, just like a family walking into the town centre, just pinched the hat. And you're just Danny, just for 5 minutes, can we just get in a bar, sit down, relax, have a few, and you couldn't. He was absolute carnage. And do you know what it is? I don't know if you've met him and spoke to him and stuff. One of the most loveliest, brilliant people you could ever meet in football. Lovely guy, family man and stuff. But he
dead softly spoken, wasn't he?
You what?
Dead softly spoken.
Oh, softly spoken, but he just loved tackling things on a night out for some reason. But yeah, and just the last one to finish on there. So we're in a nightclub on the Saturday night, and there's Robbie Ramshaw there giving it absolute 6 now and stuff like that. So, anyways, he's dead excited. He's away. He's necking drinks and stuff like that. He's giving it. Honestly, me and Johnny Oster sat at the back and we're look at him, what an idiot. Look at the state of him. And he can't dance to save his life. He's all over the place. And I just remember him coming over on the Saturday night, Rama, sitting between me and Ozzy. And Ozzy's giving him all sorts. Ozzy's ruthless. He's nailing him and stuff like that. But Rama's got his head down like that. And I remember we lifted him up and his eyes rolled. And I was what on earth's going on here? So I was like, Ozzy, whoa. So me and Ozzy's got him, and he was a big boy back, he's big, even bigger now, but he was about 12 stone, big lad, full of muscle. So there's me and Ozzy straight out the fire exit door, and we're trying to drag him up these steps. Well, between me and Oster, there was about 12 stone between us trying to lift him. He's heavier than the both of us. So we're trying to bin him. As we're trying to do that, the bouncers are going mental. You went out the fire door. What you're doing? They're going absolutely bananas with me and Ozzy. Ozzy's into them and stuff. But yeah, that was my Saturday night. I ended up getting him in a taxi. I didn't know whether I was going to have to take him to hospital or what. He was being sick everywhere and stuff. But eventually, I left him in the hotel bathroom, sat ankles round his trousers, sat on the toilet with his head down between his legs. And when I woke up the next morning, he was still in that position. So
and he's robing his underpants.
He can give it as much as he wants, but he is absolutely hopeless on the drink.
I was hoping you're going to see throw open his underpants and shit himself.
He probably did.
Yeah.
Mickey, to answer your question, Bristol was eventful, mate.
Yeah. Tony Carter cut his head open there as well.
I remember bumping into Tony Carter and that. I probably did. That was probably Danny Wright.
Yeah. Hey, man, but fantastic. Well, Jamie, it's been an absolute pleasure catching up with you and going down memory lane. Hopefully next season, Spennymoor don't do what they did this season. And say wish you all the best. But just before we'd let you go, you mentioned going into coaching. Is that something you want to move further into when you hang your boots up?
Yeah, definitely. I'm full-time coaching. I have been since I left the football club. I've been in full-time. I was at Sunderland, and now I'm at Monk Wearmouth doing a football academy where students get to come out of lessons and get coaching and stuff. And it's brilliant being in a full-time environment. This year, while I haven't been playing, I've done a little bit with Spenny's 18s and stuff. And I'm in the middle of completing my UEFA A licence in elite youth. So it's been quite a busy year, albeit I haven't been playing in terms of, what's next. It has been really busy from a coaching side. Whether I'll get into management, I don't know. I speak to Busted sometimes and his hair's falling out by the second. He's going to look like Mickey soon.
I wouldn't wish that on him.
He's a bit like the Mitchell brothers at the stadium, mate. But
saw his tits.
Whether management comes, I don't know. Being involved in football will definitely be something I'll always want to do. I've got a real passion for it, whether it's playing, whether it's watching and stuff. And that's certainly something I would love to do when I hang my boots up in the next couple of years, mate.
Oh, fantastic. Well, it's always a pleasure to see you, and thank you very much for joining us tonight.
No, thanks for your time. Thanks for having us. Great to see you, and I wish you all the best, and hopefully see you soon. Now, without a doubt, anytime, and great to see you both, and take care.
Yeah,
that's great. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Speaking to you, mate. Look after yourself. Look after your family.
Bye-bye.
Well, absolute pleasure there speaking to Chamie Chandler. Some good stories there. Mickey, you didn't miss too much, don't worry. Typical.
I had a right nightmare, Davey.
Just before we came on air, if anyone doesn't know, I was speaking to Mickey and I just had a terrible echo, so I had to close it, start again, and then Jamie come online. We went on air about a minute late, so I started, and then obviously Mickey came in about 10 minutes later. So
I was coming onto the studio, but it wouldn't let us come in. And my phone kept freezing.
Nightmare.
So I don't know what's happened there.
Yeah, but no, fantastic show. Lovely to speak to Jamie. We're going to try and do some more of these with some more former players and from throughout different seasons. And so I've reached out to a couple of players as well. I've reached out to Chris Gate and Graham Armstrong. So it'd be lovely to have either of them or both of them. And look back I was wanting to look back at the two promotion finals with them two players, but hopefully they'll get back to us. And if not, we'll cast on net and see who else we can get on the show. But a massive thank you to Chamie Chandler. That was fantastic. I'm just going to quickly play out a message from our sponsors and another little video, and we'll have if anyone has any messages or comments they'd like to put in, or even phone us, we'll put the number up shortly. But this is
anybody that'd like to speak to you.
Yeah. Yes, help us reach more fans. And as you can see, I'm sat here in Trinity Square at the moment. I'm going to work my way around gated landmarks.
Well, while you're in Tesco's, will you give us a loaf?
Hang on 1 second. If you look here, I think this might be Bernard McWilliams or his carrier bag. There we go.
Is he sleeping on the street again?
He's like the Pillsbury boy. So yeah, I'm going to work my way around Gateshead live from locations. As you can see, for some reason in Trinity Square at the moment, the sun is shining. So
Trinity Square, Norway.
Yeah, we're in the northern circle here. Never gets dark, but the Danny Greenfield thing there. Good luck to the lads. I mean, he's on a contract here, so can
what a wonderful opportunity for the lad. What a wonderful opportunity.
It certainly is.
He seems to be the type of lad who'll grab it with both hands. I really do, and I've got no qualms about any of our lads stepping up leagues. If he can get that move, that's a fantastic move.
He's young enough. He's worked very hard, as we said, throughout this season. We didn't think he'd be part of the match day or even at the club when he went out on loan in pre-season. And let's put the cards on the table. The lad, he suffered a loss. He lost his sister. Mm-hmm. We sent our condolences at the time and still do. And it's not nice to lose any family member. But he got his head down. He worked, and he's got a reward here at the end of the season to go and impress. And if it doesn't happen, then of course we've still got a great player, and he'll still be wanting to kick on and show what he can do. But if he does move on, if he does impress in this 2-week spell where he has 2 games in the under-23s, I think it said in the article with Mark Carruthers. But wow, the lad, what a 12 months it will have been for him.
Excellent, especially when you see Monty's down at Southend as well.
Yeah. Well, this one here, I haven't heard anything about it, but what do you think of Mitch Curry potentially going to Inter Miami in MLS? I hadn't heard that one.
Really?
Yeah. Well, as I say, I can't really comment on that, but wow.
Can it neither?
We did mention if we thought if Mitch Curry can get a contract in League One, then certainly Danny Greenfield can, potentially the Championship.
What I've seen of the 2 players, I mean, we didn't see a lot of Mitch Curry, to be fair, Dave.
It certainly didn't, but you can only talk about what you did see, though.
If I was doing a compare between the 2, Danny Greenfield's got as much chance as Mitch Curry has.
Certainly has, and I would say he seems to be a lovely lad and works hard, and everyone's got a great great words to say about him. And it's been a pleasure seeing him really develop this year, because as we mentioned a little bit earlier on, we're having a little chat to Chamie Chandler. He kept the likes of Nicky Devidics out the side, who's a club captain. And to do that, he kept his form and stuff, and the lads really worked and improved.
Yeah, definitely. And what I like about it is that, like, the local league teams around us are starting to look at non-league players. Now, in the 70s, Newcastle signed Alan Shoulder, and Newcastle got Frank Clark from Crook. Mm-hmm. So it'd be great to see things like that happening again.
Well, of course, Sedwin Scott went to he had the trial at Newcastle, of course, and he's signed for Carlisle. These things are fantastic. They're starting to look at players around here. Maybe the game is changing a little bit more now to where players look after themselves, condition themselves, and the prospect of signing a non-league player now probably isn't as daunting, especially when you look at the financial aspects of finding the next Jamie Vardy. That's why everyone's
the National League, in the National League North and South, are not too far away from the lower leagues in this division, in the Football League, Dave.
Well, on that front, the amount of players that have been loaned from the National League North to National League teams is being quite phenomenal. I mean, ourselves included. James Montgomery's playing in the Football League at the moment with Southend, and we wish him all the best as well. That's something else we forgot to mention. He's on an emergency 7-day loan that's been extended to another 7.
I mentioned it before.
I didn't. Sorry, and obviously Cooper, he's went to Hartlepool. He's could be in a championship winning side there if he gets in. And,
I meant to say before, if Chandler had been fit, he might have got a game at Hartlepool, because I seem to be taking anyone who's gated.
Yeah, gated reserves there. But no, they seem to be doing really well. But yeah, as I say, it's just that romance of a lower league player potentially getting a go at the higher level.
It is. It's excellent. I mean, at one point it was like Tavernier, Gooch, Dummett coming here.
Yeah, I mean,
now it seems to be going the other way.
I know. The amount of players that are, that have played for Gateshead in recent years and are higher up, playing at a higher level, is just unreal. I mean, you could build a hell of a squad if you brought them all back.
Yeah. Well, can you remember Alan Lamb?
I've seen him in his second stint, and
Right.
by all accounts,
Well,
it
on his
wasn't
first stint, he scored a lot of goals for Gateshead, and he went there on trial to Newcastle. Ozzy Ordiles was there.
Mm-hmm.
I think he got a couple of goals in one of the reserve games, and they were going to sign him, but they decided to sign David Kelly instead.
Yeah, it's just the way it goes, isn't it? Sometimes just what if it had happened. But if anyone does want to ring us, we'll stay on for another 5 minutes. 077 494 55002. It's 077 494 55002, and we'd love to speak to you if you've got any thoughts on Danny Greenfield or anything else going along.
Potentially the ladies on the 4th of April, David.
Yes, they could be back, and we'll just have to see how things go with the easing of lockdowns. It looks promising. It'd be nice if it did happen, but I'll say we'll just have to see how that goes. Also, as well, we'd love you to follow us on social media. This is where we are on Twitter @Heed_Army. Please subscribe as well on the YouTube channel if you're watching us there. Help us be able to change the URL to Heed Army Podcast. That would be great if we can get to 100. I think we're at 38 at the moment, and the views are going all right on there. Oops, pressed the wrong button. And yeah, it'd be great if we can get people to share the show. We've been doing very well since we've moved on to StreamYard to broadcast like this. The shows went from strength to strength. Just unfortunately, there isn't any football to talk about at the moment. That's hampered us a little bit, but we're adapting, and we hope that you've enjoyed this show tonight with Chamie Chandler. And also as well, before we go, please do visit Mark Carruthers' Northern Goals on the Sunderland Echo website. He did helped produce a fantastic show that he did with Chamie Chandler, Turnbull, Clark and O'Donnell, and they watched the highlights of the semi-final playoff game against Grimsby. It's fantastic. There's some good insight there and some more good stories, so please do that. And as I say, Mark does a fantastic job, and it was a pleasure.
Talk of stories. You were on the disabled room because you'd had the operation. What were you doing on there to the Grimsby fans with your crutches?
Oh no, I might have give them the English Archers fingers there. Just on that, we've got. I remember the playoff season. It was great to see 8,000 fans turn up for the semi-final. The atmosphere was something special. It was. But I only, I was only just pointing out where they could be really sitting when they were damaging seats. That's what I was doing. But then I was just an emotional wreck after that. But yeah.
I was telling someone the other day. I think at full time, I was in bits. I was in tears. I was tears of joy. And Tony Carter was crying his eyes out. You were crying your eyes out.
Yeah.
Just what a day. I mean, Danny, Grimsby, for God's sake. But what a way to win.
It certainly was. And well, as I say, before we go, if you can message us through the week, I think I thought we had a phone call there. I just got a vibration on some device. No, if there's any players you talk to, it wasn't that type of device. Batteries have died. If you want any certain player or to talk about any certain game, and we can get a few players on from that team, hopefully just message us at Heed_Army, and we can try and put some feelers out and put a show together, because that's what it's all about. But say we'll wrap it up there. Let's say a massive thank you to Chamie Chandler. He was great value as ever. Great memories. And as I say, he was one of the players I was disappointed that got let go when he did. When that side got broke up by Neil Aspin. But
I never got the chance to ask him that question. Neil Aspin, discuss.
Yeah, that's for another show. But a big thank you to everyone. And as I say, we'll leave the last message of the show to my daughter, who will tell you exactly what to do.
Hello everybody. Remember to like and subscribe and share the show.